Hey, what's going on, guys? So the Old to Gold contest has wrapped up, and in today's video I want to announce the winners for you. So first of all, a couple of big thank yous I need to say. A huge thank you to USA Gundam Store, of course, for making it all possible, also for supplying the prizes for this contest. Also a big thank you to our awesome guest judges, both Brian and George. Brian, aka Bro Builder, and George, aka Old School Gunpla. Definitely check them out. I'll also have links to their social media down in the description below too if you want to check them out. And of course, a link to USA Gundam Store if you guys want to check out the site there and do some shopping. Also, just a huge thank you to all of you guys. So we had in total over 160 people first enter in the contest, which is a lot more interest than I was expecting for this contest. So that's awesome that we had so many of you guys interested in joining. Ultimately, we had 62 finished entries for this that we had to go through for the judging. And as it usually goes with these contests, it was tough judging this one. So it really came down to, the last 4, 5, 6 kind of finalists for the judges and myself that we were just kind of really went in on and just kind of figuring out who were going to be the winners. So just as a reminder, there's going to be, a first, second, third place for this contest. And so, yeah, it was tough narrowing it down. But as usual, guys, make sure you stick around to the end of the video. At the end, I will have a montage of all of the entries. But for now, I thought we can start off just by taking a look at some honorable mentions. These were some builds that were fantastic builds that were amongst our kind of finalists once we started narrowing it down that we really, really liked. They didn't quite win, but these are some awesome builds amongst the group. Why don't you guys take a look at these and enjoy. So, all right, there you guys go. As you can see, those were a lot of great entries so far. And now we're going to get to the winners. And one thing that I did want to just talk about that was kind of tough for the judges, and I'm sure was tough for you guys as well, interpreting the theme of the contest. And basically, of course, what we wanted you guys to do was take an old model kit and make it into something nicer, basically, because those old model kits are a little bit rough around the edges, a little bit more challenging to work on. So the whole old to gold premise, it was kind of open to interpretation exactly what you guys wanted to do with that, and I wanted to leave it open for you guys. But as you'll see here in the winners, there's a little bit of a mix of interpretation of that theme. And so you could have interpreted it as basically taking that old model and making it look, keeping it that same model, but making it look as nice as possible by, through your painting, modifications and weathering and all that, but still keeping the same original shape, original look of the model, like making an old RX-78 and still keeping it looking totally like an RX-78, but just a really, really nice build of that model. Or another interpretation, as you guys will see here for our third place winner, would be to take that old model and make something much more creative with it. So it's still a nice build of that old model, but doing something super unique, super creative. And that's why for third place, this is gonna go here to Marim, who did this awesome build of the 160 scale. So it's a very large kit here of the Dom. And as you guys will see, it's painted in a really super unique way. Taking a look through the photos here, you can see that what he's done is actually high contrast, sort of simplified illustrations from the manga and then painted those onto the Dom. So they're all scenes involving the Dom from the storyline. And here we have these scenes painted on all the different parts of the armor of the Dom, whilst leaving some really nice accents, like the red accents that you see underneath some of the armor parts, also on the head, the camera, the mono eye in that nice pink color. So all the painting on this, just a super unique style for this. And this is a really good example where not only did it have a really unique and creative concept, but the execution of that concept was done really well. And that's really important because you can have a really interesting idea, but if you're not able to execute it in a successful way, it can kind of fall flat. But this one was done really successfully. The painting on it was, I think, done really tastefully in that there's all these illustrations everywhere, but it's not covering every square inch. Some certain parts of the model were left either just all white or all black or red in some cases, like I mentioned. So the planning of this one was really, really interesting. I think this is an idea that very easily could have gone wrong, but I think it was done really, really successfully for this one. And we liked this one a whole lot. And this is a perfect example of the kind of entry that wasn't exactly focused on making the very best possible version of a 160 scale DOM, but took that and made it into gold, as in making it into something super unique and creative and really well executed. So congratulations, Marine, on that. Really, really awesome work. Next up for our second place prize. The second place prize is going to go to Jorge, who did this awesome work on this 112 scale Mospeda kit. And he did it kind of the other way, where he basically took that original model kit and made it as good as it could possibly look. And this was definitely a tricky model kit to work on, as were all of these. That's kind of the one thing that was definitely true with all of these kits. Everyone was kind of, by starting off with an old kit, everybody's had their work cut out for them with these old kits. There was definitely a lot of work that had to be done, and this one in particular, just being a pretty rough kit to start off with. A lot of great work done on this, just in terms of modifying it, updating the look of it, just getting it into just a little bit nicer pose than what the original kit was able to do. And then of course all the painting, weathering on this ends up looking really, really nice. Fantastic presentation, photography on this one as well. It's really high quality work. And then as you guys can see, taking a look at some of the close-up images there too, where you can really kind of see the attention paid to the details here on this, from the weathering on the armor to the weathering on the wheels, making those look really realistic on there. Some modifications done on this, and that does include the use of some new parts there for the elbow joints and knee joints, but it was within the parameters that we set for you guys to not use over so much of a percent of new parts for this. There's all that, and also just a really nice color scheme here for this one, kind of updating the color scheme with something a bit more interesting. The markings on there look really nice as well. So really, really well done on that one. Between the two of those, it was really tough to kind of choose, but both of those were really fantastic entries. And then that brings us to the number one spot. And here's where we ran into a dilemma, because in narrowing it down, like I said, once we got to kind of the last handful of entries, it was really, really tough. And as you've seen from the second and third place, we have some really, really high quality entries there. And so for that reason, for first place, we actually have a tie that we wanted to award kind of the status of the first place winner of this contest to actually two builds that, going through the judging process, myself and Brian and George, pretty much these two builds are flawless for the most part. And so we, rather than trying to decide, which one should be first and which one should be second, they're both amazing builds. And in all honesty, I hope that you guys are fine with it, but we felt good about awarding first place to both of these builds. So I'm going to start off here first with Kevin's work here on the armored fighting suit. It's the 120 scale old Machine Krieger kit here from the Nito production days there. As you guys will see on this build, the work on it is absolutely fantastic. The painting work, the modification work, the pose on it. These old kits, if you're familiar with the old Machine Krieger kits and even some of the newer Machine Krieger kits, they're not super realistic in terms of I guess they're realistic. They're not particularly expressive when it comes to the pose, but this was a really great example where just some minor modifications to the pose really make such a huge difference with this one, that the pose is fantastic. The modification work done, to fill in the joints for the cloth coverings on the joints is done really, really nicely. Just the painting, the weathering on this one. There's some more modifications on there than that. Just the hoses and piping bits and things that are added on there. There's you can see the little pad added onto like one of the armor panels there. There's a lot of really great details added in on this on top of the base model kit. So this was a really, really great example of taking that original model kit and really making it look as best as it could possibly look. And not only is the execution of the model done, just super, super well, but then the presentation's fantastic. We have really, really nice photos here of this. And again, as I mentioned, the pose, the base, is nice. It's just done like a nice simple base there, but the presentation overall, really, really good. The colors of the model kit, the painting on the character's face too is also really nicely done. So fantastic work on that. And like I said, judging this one, it's pretty much a flawless build. So there's not really anything that we could find to nitpick about this one. And that's why we wanted this one to be one of our top winners. But like I said, we did want to award the #1 spot to actually 2 different builds. So that was one of our top winners. Our other top winner here is going to go to Goblin Teeth. Now for this build, he used the 1/100 scale Walker Machine Duggar type from Zabungle. And it's a pretty funky design to start off with for sure, but he did just such a fantastic job with the finishing on this model. And not only that, but again, minor things that really just kind of go in and add up, like the cloth covering on the top, from the weld beads added around in different points to just modification to some of the proportions of this and everything. So there's just a ton of fantastic work done on this just to customize the model to make it look as nice as it can look. Again, to take it from something old, clunky, just kind of derpy sort of looking model into something pure gold here with this one. Again, with this fantastic presentation, again, as well as you've seen just kind of with all of our winners here and the runners up as well. We had a lot of really great photography here for this contest. So really, really nice presentation here. Nice clean photos of this build. And just taking a look at some of the close-up images as well too, where you can really appreciate the attention paid to the weathering. You could tell that he'd spent a lot of time on the finish of this build. The painting of it, some really nice shading on there, and then the weathering is really like super accurate and directed for different parts of the build, where it's a little bit more weathered in some areas and less in others, and weathered in particular areas that would receive more natural weathering than others. So you can just tell that there was a lot of care paid to the weathering of this and just the finish, the painting of it. So like with Kevin's build, for the judges and myself, this was one that we really couldn't find anything that we could pick out as anything of a negative for this, or even anything that we thought, maybe could have done a little bit better. Pretty much a flawless build, which is why we wanted to award this one as one of our first place winners as well. Absolutely fantastic work. It's definitely one worthy of a lot of praise. Such cool work on that. And yeah, that's it for this contest, guys. As you can see, there's some absolutely fantastic builds that we had. Again, not only just for our winners, we had some really amazing builds there, even in the runners-up. And then as you'll see here at the montage at the end, there's a lot of even builds that maybe didn't even make it into the runners-up, but still some really, really nice builds. So everybody who entered, all of you guys, give yourselves a pat on the back. And again, just a thank you from myself, from the judges, from everybody here at USA Gundam Store, just for taking the time to enter the contest and joining in with everyone. The really great thing about a contest like this is that hopefully it allowed you guys, a lot of you guys, to maybe try something new. And I think we could see that it's hard to tell because I don't know each one of you personally, but just from what I could tell, I got the sense that there was a lot of you guys that maybe were building an old model kit like this maybe for the first time, or you didn't necessarily have a lot of experience with it. But I could tell that you really put a lot of effort into it, and so it's awesome that the contest, I hope, I can assume, got some people to try something new that they haven't tried before, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. But as for feedback, any other feedback that you guys might like on your builds, if you would like additional feedback, we're not going to do like a kind of live stream where I go through all of the entries and give feedback on all of them for this contest. But if you do want some additional feedback on your build, you can reach out to me. You can also reach out to Brian and George. They both said that if any of you guys want to message them for additional feedback, they're happy to give you some more feedback as well on your build. We went through all of them, scrutinized everything, and so we're all familiar with all your guys' builds for this, so definitely reach out if you'd like some more feedback on that. And again, thank you to them for taking the time to help out with this contest. Thank you to USA Gundam Store again, and thank all of you guys for your hard work. I hope that you guys had fun with this contest. We'll have another contest starting off for you guys pretty soon. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be yet. I have a few different ideas, but I'll let you guys know on that. For now, that's it for today's video, guys. Thanks so much, and enjoy the montage of all the entries. See ya.